Culture is power, history is knowledge. How's it going, everybody? Always leave your thoughts and comments. I am Rudy from Chicano Ideas. So let's talk about Tariq NASHEED. On his point of view, is if Mexican Americans should get reparations before Black Americans. Now, his point of view, his thought is pretty much no, that anything Ray want, Ray should go ask Spain as a of reparations and land back or gold or money back. But what is reparations? What is land back for Mexican Americans? Us people being natives, indigenous people of culture and ethnicity background to this continent before the European takeover of the Spaniards and the British. So, I mean, the Spaniards brought blacks over too, right? So, do the meaning, right? Obviously, Haiti and all them, they should ask reparations for who? From Spain and America. Who would like I said though, he's FBA, he's Foundation of Black America. So at the same time, he's not too concerned of people of Black Latino, I think, getting reparations, or if he is, I guess they have to ask Spain. But the point is colonialism, is that us as Black and brown people have been colonized by the Europeans and by the Spaniards and the British. And yes, the United States dominated the Black community in a whole different way of slavery than the Spaniards did the Mexicans or the natives of this land. They both had to, work on this land, dig for gold. Mexicans had to dig for gold. We had to stop speaking native language of Nahua to learn, Spanish. But do Mexican Americans deserve our reparations from the system of the United States? Well, the point is, it's us seeing that we as a people been dominated by Europeans overall. There are our rivalry, and Europeans in general, Europe, Spain, Britain, South, North Europe, whatever you want to call it, they owe reparations to both. Europe owes reparations to Black and Native people of this continent. So to me, do we get it before Blacks? Do we even deserve it? Do we got to go to Spain? Well, think about a lot of Mexicans, Chicanos, who were already living on this continent while Spaniards were moving us across the West Coast, helping the Spaniards conquer land and fight other natives. This was here also, while this became United States, Mexicans got their land rights taken away. Yes, he said in the treaty, the Spaniards got money, possibly. While a lot of the people who are Spaniards, American-born criollos, run Mexico. So American-born Spaniards even get treated differently from Spanish who are from Spain. So criollos who are American Spaniards ain't helping out indigenous native people, ain't helping out the brown people. They're helping out themselves to have more power than old Spain. And they probably gave a lot of that money to Spain because a lot of the criollos, American Spaniards, still hold value and religion and ties to Spain. So whether if they got 15 million, it didn't go to Mexico. He said if we blew our money on whatever, we want to blow it on the rock or whatever he said, it's like most likely the criollos got that money because the general of Mexico, he was a Puerto Rican. You read up who was the general that signed the Treaty of Guadalupe, for an example. He was a Puerto Rican. He wasn't even a Mexican. He wasn't even a Mexican mestizo of Spaniard and being from the Mexico. He was mestizo, but he was of Puerto Rican mestizo, whatever, if you want to call it Taino or the people they had on the islands. So we had a Puerto Rican Spaniard being the general of the Mexican army. A lot of these cats were criollos, is what if he understands running Mexico, American-born Spaniards. So you think they're gonna help out in giving money into really making Mexico as strong as they possibly wanted to? Because one, and like he even said, Mexico treats its native people like shit. Of course, because it's like everything. It goes pure indigenous, mestizo mix, and then Spaniard. You know, just like with blacks, bro. We learn it from blacks. Black, mulatto, and then you're white, right? So with us being that we are mestizo, we understand that we are native people of this continent. We have that heritage and background within us. So Europeans are in debt to us overall. Europeans are, this is the continent base that we're on, because I'm pretty sure if as smart as Tariq Nasheed is, like they say, they anybody who's half black and half white is black, not white. The one drop rule. So does that not count for us? Us being mestizo, as in having native, uh, Amerindian is what they used to call background, Amerindian mixed with Spaniard, and what we are people of this continent. So does the United States owe us reparations? I would say when it comes to the system, if you want to break down nations, uh, Chicanos and stuff that been here since this was Spain, since this was New Spain, and then it became Mexico, and then it became broken down into California more, and then it got taken over by the United States. So, yes, we do, especially because a lot of us were here on the West Coast living and a part of this before this was the United States, and plus because we are people of this continent. So while blacks were facing, their slavery in the South and the East Coast of what is the United States, now it's, you got blacks coming to what is Mexico because they know it's a little bit more fair, not that much slavery. If that is the assumption is correct, I mean, you're still gonna get treated like shit, like with the brown people. But do we deserve reparations before black people? I mean, it's just about what is us wanting to get our land back. He was against Marvelous, saying that we should get our land back, that we should talk to Spain. But us as a people of being colonized and colonialism faced upon us, losing our race of identity, of what you want to call it, our ethnicity identity, the heritage, and knowing who we are, the United States does need to be aware and afraid of people who are of that background of this continent do have rights to take over. I mean, how? Why wouldn't we? Look at land across the road. Everybody's fighting for what was theirs and who was what, because every other nation knows this is a conquered land. Everybody knows that the Europeans conquered the natives of this land by disease and manipulation and lying, and then, yes, bringing African blacks over here to work. So the Spaniards who started it, the Europeans, and overall owe us reparations. The Europeans in general should not control this continent. Now, for the foundation of Black America, what does he want? Is Tariq Nasheed just somebody that wants? Because he's not Pan African, he's not a Hebrew Israelite, he's not a brother that's into Kemet, he's not Nation of Islam, which a lot of these groups that I mentioned want their own. Nation of Islam owns so much property. They were fighting for what, their own land since the 50s, asking for Mississippi and Alabama. You got Hebrew Israelite brothers that are going off the grid. You watch them on YouTube buying land up. You got the new Black Panthers. You got brothers that are Pan-African, Dr. Umar. But he's foundation of Black America, meaning what? That you just want reparations and to continue to live in the system of the United States and the control of Europeans. Like, what is the foundation of Black America? Are they trying to create communities in the United States? Are they trying to create schools in the United States? Are they trying to get land in the United States? Or are they just trying to get reparations and just continue to live in the European structured system while just being foundation of Black America? So, yes, Chicanos, especially, we do deserve reparations. Us as a people need to realize that this is the land that we come from. We are a part of that. Because if blacks were here, even if they were mulatto, they say, hey, we would be a part of it. Look at Tariq Nasheed. I think his lady's mulatto, right? And yet he'll call her a black woman. So us being mestizo, which is another way of being mixed, mulatto, being with natives of this continent, we've been moving up and down this continent before Europeans were. We were already of an ethnicity background of different areas moving all up and down. So, yes, we deserve our land back and our reparations because the Europeans overall, whether if they're the United States or whether if they're Mexico or Canada, they're Europeans that controlled the system that was able to conquer and control and manipulate a system called the United States. And so, yes, we do deserve something back because we need to wake up as a people to understand that overall, whether if it was Spain started it, and so what? Because we've been living here on this part of land for a couple hundred years, even while it was Spain. While Cortez used the natives to come help conquer the West Coast and moving them around, and Mexicans staying living on the what is California and Mexico and not traveling back down to Mexico. We do deserve because they broke so many treaties. The United States broke so many treaties amongst natives, amongst the Mexicans that they said that could stay in the United States and said that they would be able to keep their land. But what happened is there's the American government during the 20s realized that we got all this land, but it's owned by Mexicans. So what happened? The Great Depression happened. All the Mexicans that owned land in the West Coast, for an example, I had family that did, lost their land, and the government came and bought it out. And bought it out in the 30s. And the people who owned the land, the Mexicans that owned the land, started working on their own fields. So the white man owes anybody who is black or brown reparations, the Europeans in general, British or Spanish, because, hey, we are people of this background that's been colonized and conquered, and we're waking up and we realize also. And, we gotta, yes, the Chicano movement, like I've said, we've always learned from the brothers, Reyes Lopez, Reyes Tehina, Corky Gonzalez learned from Malcolm X. They learned from Farrakhan. The Chicano movement learned from the Nation of Islam. Cesar Chavez learned from Martin Luther King. And they've always said that. And, I don't know how Tariq Nasheed is because if he's just for foundation of Black America, just black nationalists, I'm not tripping or worried about anybody else or like a Dr. Umar. That's cool. Then you got, like the Hebrew Israelites who believe, Mexicans and natives are a part of that Issachar. And you got other, the Hebrew Israelites. You got the Nation of Islam who also accepts Mexicans and understands that, hey, we are people of this continent and we deserve something also. Whether if it was Spain or not, we've been conquered and colonized, we've been moved around. So I think if learning from Tariq Nasheed, because even though he could say some stuff, I still like to listen. He's a smart guy, knows plenty of history. I've been learning from him for many years, and that's where I got my ideas also from him and putting it into a Chicano point of view. So do we deserve it first? I think we just all deserve truth, and we all deserve land and money back. For those who understand that, hey, we are just both a conquered people overall. So the system of the United States, it sees Chicanos like my family, let's say, who's been here for, you know, generations. Do we deserve reparations? I mean, we were here in the 20s. We got family that was here when this was Mexico. and possibly when this was New Spain. But Tariq Nasheed, overall, he's a smart fella, and who knows? I don't know what FBA really is. I don't know if they want their own nation. Are they a nationalist, or are they just like he's trying to just make a democratic type of group, a political group where we need reparations, but yet we still continue to live under the system of, being controlled by a European white man president and all these white man governments and cities and, the overall system of the United States owes everybody. The European continent system owes black and brown people in general. So it's about us waking up and not trying to be against each other or not trying to see who deserves what first, but realizing that we need to dismantle that system together, and everybody gets something. Everybody should get a share. And the Spaniards, the British, the European, Pensacola in general, owes this continent and the people that they took advantage of. Yes. But it's up to us to wake up and to acknowledge that that's the only way we could get land back, we could get so called reparations back. But other than that, culture is power, history is knowledge. I'm a Chicano. Check out my channel. See what I talk about. I learned a lot from the black community. I've always shared my information on who to watch from the black community, and Tariq Nasheed is one of them. And so other than that, leave your thoughts and comments. Give this a like. Peace out.